Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Leader's Edge, your path to personal and leadership growth. I'm your host, Steele, alongside my co-host and partner in leadership, Ernie Dacumos. As certified speakers, coaches, and corporate facilitators, we're dedicated to bringing you powerful principles to fuel your leadership journey and personal growth. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur just starting out, a new leader taking the reins, or a seasoned pro looking to refine your skills, this show is for you. We'll be diving deep into personal growth strategies to help you strengthen your mindset and leadership abilities. But before we jump in, a huge shout out to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you so much for joining us each and every week. We wouldn't be here without your incredible support. So now let's get down to business and help you unlock your full potential. Hey, partner. How are you doing today?
Hi, partner. Good? I'm doing great, partner. Today's a little unique. It has been a while since we had more than one guest.
Yes, it is very unique.
Yes, but how are you doing today, partner?
I'm doing good, partner. I'm thinking that I am very excited about what things are going on right now in our lives, and I'm just very, very happy about the show and where the show's leading. And these amazing people, this is kind of cool because they're kind of sitting together. We don't have them on separate screens. They're sitting together because they're husband and wife. So this is going to be an amazing, amazing show. But before we get started, Erlita, why don't you tell us a little bit about who she is?
One of them, yes. So one of our guests is an extraordinary overcomer of challenging circumstances. She has overcome leukemia, a life-threatening pregnancy, 2 heart transplants, and 2 children born after transplant. Very much of an overcomer. She's also a wife, a mother, an office manager, a licensed life insurance representative, and a professional organizer. She is also a licensed minister with an associate's degree in biblical studies with 30 plus years of experience. She is married to the love of her life, which we will not name, whom she works alongside with. They have 3 amazing children, 3 beautiful grandchildren, and 2 fur babies. She enjoys time with her family, traveling, camping, and the great outdoors. She considers every day as a precious gift and is dedicated to helping others live a wonderful life, regardless of the circumstances, through the power of faith and love. Partner, can you tell us about?
Yes, and our second guest is a dedicated professional in financial education, sales, and public relations, currently working with Primerica. He helps individuals and families gain clarity and clarify on their finances, reduce debt, and build a strong financial foundation for their future. His mission is to empower people to achieve financial freedom and long-time stability through education, planning, and the right protection. His professional approach is rooted in faith, integrity, and a genuine desire to serve others. He has also traveled internationally to Haiti and Pakistan on mission trips, providing clean water wells and hope to the communities in need. Married to his wife for 14 years, he's a proud father of 3 children and a grandfather of 3. His family, along with their 2 golden doodles, Ninja and Max, inspire him to grow daily and live with purpose. Outside of work, he enjoys playing guitar, running, fishing, hunting, and hiking. He describes himself as a laid-back yet goal-driven and adventurous, always striving to make positive impact on the lives of those around him. And his personal quote is, "I don't just want to make a living. I want to make a difference. One life, one family, one story at a time."
So everyone, please help us in welcoming Sarah and Chris Hindman to the stage.
Hey guys.
Hi guys.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Oh, it's good to see you. So good to see you. My gosh, I guess it was last week we talked to you a little bit about our show today and some of the content that we're going to be sharing. But Ernie and I are so glad and so happy that you're here. And we want to hear your life. We just want to hear your story. I know that Sarah, you have some major things that you went through in your life. And I know that Chris, you came into her life and had a lot of support there. So we're going to just dive into it, guys. And so don't hold back on us. Okay. Be yourself. All right. Be yourself. Sarah, you grew up as a teenager. you found out something pretty devastating in your life. Can you tell us what that was, a little bit behind that story?
Well, I was a freshman in high school, and I went in for a checkup and found out that I had leukemia. And at that time, I was not getting along with anyone at home. I was pretty much doing my own thing. I had come from a divorced family. I had spent some time going back and forth and really having personal struggles like with suicide and school and friends and just all of that, kind of starting to experiment with things that shouldn't be experimented with, and just really not in a good place. And I got a call one night, and it was about 11:30, and my mom came downstairs and she's like, "Sit up, I need to talk to you." And I'm like, "I'm not sitting up for you." I mean, it was a really tense time at home, and like, "You have leukemia." And it was like, "What?" And my mom was a nurse, so she understood what that meant.
Yeah.
And my first question was, "Does that mean I have to take chemotherapy and lose my hair?" And, you know, I'm a
Yeah.
well, that's a pretty big deal. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know what that meant. And it became a pretty rough road. And they immediately started treatments the next morning. I was upset because I couldn't go to school, say goodbye to my friends. You know, I'm like, "Just give me one more day at school." And they were like, "Absolutely not." And then all the testing started, the bone marrow tests and blood tests. And then they're coming in my room with suits on of protection for them. And then they're putting it in my IV, you know, and I'm like, "Oh, this can't be good." And, you know, all of this.
Just a quick follow-up question, Sarah. Were you feeling bad? I mean, did you notice something in your body wasn't right?
Yeah.
And you were feeling bad?
You know, I didn't.
Really?
I really didn't. And which is interesting because I was extremely sick when they found it. Like, it was very strong.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I was a little tired and I was pale, and but I didn't show any rashes, or, you know, there's different things that can be symptoms of it, and I didn't. Yeah. So
I'm curious, Sarah. So I know you kind of touched on this, but as a teenager, your mom, very knowledgeable about the disease itself, and you were just told you have leukemia. You said that, "Am I gonna get chemotherapy and lose my hair?" After that, what was the first thought that came to mind? Did you feel scared?
honestly, I was angry. I was just angry because I didn't want to go in. I didn't want to go for treatments, you know, and probably a lot of that was I really didn't know what was happening. You know, it really, as things progressed, it's like you get sicker and sicker, and I had like seizures, and it was hard for me to be inside the hospital and watch my friends drive by. I could see them like going downtown, and I just felt like I watched life pass me by because I spent so much time in the hospital, and I was a good grades. But then as time progressed, I couldn't keep up because I'd be at school for a week and then I'd be out for a week, or, you know, there'd be time, and, you know, I just couldn't keep up on the learning for a while. So that was really challenging. And my hair, I just remember when it started falling out, it just like chunks of it just came out. That was really scary. And my skin peeled off.
Wow.
And my fingernails fell off, and I went through puberty a few times because you lose all your hair. I swelled up really bad. I would have nosebleeds that they couldn't stop, and so I would just finally, I'd be so tired, they'd just put like a clip on my nose, and so I could rest. And there was one point where I was throwing up so bad, and I remember I just started, it was straight blood coming out.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. And I had always heard, if you throw up blood, you're dying,
Mhm.
And I just remember looking at my mom, and she said it's gonna be okay.
Mhm.
And I was like, all right, and I did a round of chemo, and they got like 98% of it, and so they had to come back and do it again.
Mm.
And I got to go 10 days out of the hospital to strengthen up. And I spent a lot of time with my friends. And I just remember being in the car with them, and we're cruising around, and they got the music up, and they're all, doing their thing. And I just remember looking outside, like at trees and the sky. I I was looking at nature because I was used to being locked up in this building, and it's like
Mhm.
starting to notice things that I didn't notice before. And so they went back in and did another round of chemotherapy, which was stronger. And I ended up on, I had grand mal seizures from it and ended up on life support. And I remember one of my uncles praying for me, and I don't know him as a praying person, so
Mm.
I could hear him though. And then they had my mom. The doctor had called her into his office, and he was telling her that he didn't think that I was going to live, and that things were really iffy. And as he was telling her that, I woke up out of the coma and came back.
Wow.
And from that point on, I just shifted and started getting stronger again. And so the nurse was like running in his office. She's awake. And so that was a good turnaround moment. And then
Mhm.
they wanted to get me ready for like a bone marrow transplant. And so I prepped for all of that, had to go to Iowa where they were going to do it. And I didn't respond well to the chemotherapy. So they said that they would wait for me to go out of remission to do the transplant, because you have to do the chemotherapy again. And
Yeah.
so thankfully I never went out of remission, and I did maintenance chemo for a while, and was like once a month I'd just go in, which
Mhm.
my doctor actually bribed me to do, because my hair had just started coming back. I was getting some fuzz, and he's like, we're going to do this every month. And I was like, no way,
Yeah,
Now,
I'm having my hair.
no, it's just coming back. And I was a sophomore then. And he said, every time you come in and get a treatment, I'll send you and your friends to a concert. How does that sound?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Tell any 15, 16-year-old kid that. Me up. And
For
so
sure.
that was a good incentive. It was very helpful.
Mm, I
Appreciated it.
love that.
And so I started kind of getting better. And then I was at work one day, and I passed out at work and went in the hospital and found out that I was in heart failure.
Now, Sarah, how old were you at that point?
I was 16
So,
at the time.
okay, so let's back up a second. Let me see if I get this. All right. So you're 14, 15 years old. You
Mhm.
find out you have leukemia.
Leukemia.
And it's not a good leukemia. It's pretty drastic. I mean, it's pretty advanced.
Yes.
You go in, you have chemotherapy, and then you're losing your hair. You're going through all of this struggle, and you're only 14, 15 years old.
Mhm.
And then you get past that to at least some degree. And
Yes.
then you find out you have heart failure
Yes.
on top of that.
Yes. And mind you, I'm not a happy teenager.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, you're not. You said that.
Yeah.
I was not even because I was sick. I mean, maybe it was just because I have these people tell me what to do. I don't do well with people telling me what to do.
I concur.
I love that. I was gonna ask, is that true? Yes, you already.
So
I bribe her with concerts.
There you go.
yeah. So I was still functioning, and still going to school and everything. And then I moved out on my own, and I lived on the streets for a few months and hung out with friends, did a lot of camping. I definitely know how to survive. And so I did that. And then I was able to get into my own apartment and all of that. So I'm like 16, 17. I'm 17 by then. And
Still going to school.
still going to school. Yes, I never stopped going to school. All of that. And because you'd just be dumb to drop out of school.
Mhm.
I did everything. Who needs anybody else but school? Whatever.
That's
But-
oh, I love that.
So, going along, long story short, I found out I was pregnant,
Mhm.
which I could not believe because number one, they told me that I was sterile from chemotherapy. And I was,
Oh.
what do you mean I'm pregnant? And I was just like, I honestly went into like shock. I just had no idea what I was going to do about that. I had no idea.
Can imagine.
Anything.
My goodness.
And I went to the doctor and I was about 5 months pregnant. And he said, you have heart issues, but, you should be okay, and all of that. Well, then about a month later, and mind you, okay, I'm around a party atmosphere. I realize, you start to realize who your friends are because, I don't know about you, but when you're pregnant, you don't drink. Like,
Yes.
that's the thing, you don't drink.
Supposedly, you're not supposed to drink.
Mhm.
And I had friends that were like, just take a drink. And they're like, got the cup up to my mouth. And I'm like thinking to myself, what? This is not cool. These are not my friends. And,
Mm,
Uh,
yes.
you just kind of see a different side of things. And
Um,
oh, go ahead.
I have a question, Sarah. So you have a heart failure, you have a heart issue, just recovering for cancer, and you're pregnant. Did you find out the survival rate of your baby at
I
that
did.
time?
I did. So I'll skip along. So at that time it was fine. And then I went to the doctor for my checkup and he said 11% of my heart was functioning and that I was dying.
Ooh.
And he said, I'm a Christian. I don't believe in abortion, but I don't know what I would do if I was you. And I was not ready to be a mom. I had no concept of what I was going to do. And everyone asked me, what do you want to have? And I said, well, I want a girl, but I know I'm going to have a boy because God won't answer my prayers. And not that boys are bad, but I was 17 and all I knew was that they would pee on you. And so that would be, so I'm like, I want a girl.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just, I'm 17 years old.
That shows the age. Yes, totally. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I went and he said, I'm going to send you to a specialist and then or for an ultrasound, and then we're going to go to a specialist. So I went into the specialist, found out that I was having a girl.
Mm.
He's shocked that God would answer my prayers.
Mm.
And so the next day when I went to the specialist and he said the same thing, he said, I'm a Christian. I don't believe in abortion, but I don't know what I would do if I was you. You won't make it through this pregnancy. And I knew that because I had made it through the leukemia, that it's not up to, God is the one who determines when we go.
Mhm.
And so I was like, well, that's up to God. And I asked when the baby had a chance to live, and they said at 28 weeks. And I said, then at 28 weeks, you can take her, and the rest is up to God. And I spent the rest of that time in the hospital. And we were given, both of us were given 10% chance of living through her birth. And the day came for her to be born. I was terrified and really nervous because I'm still not ready to be a mom. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this baby. And so anyways, they come in, they're prepping me for surgery, and all of a sudden my family's showing up and they're like, we love you, and you know, we're here. And it was really actually not comforting because I was like, they're telling me goodbye. Like, this is not good. This is not a good feeling.
Yes.
It was scary. So a friend of mine, though, on the way there, she said, Sarah, what are you going to name your baby? And she was the only person that asked me what her name was going to be. And I said, Faith. It has to be Faith. And my nurse came in later and took me down to meet my 3-pound, 5-ounce little girl. And she was in the NICU unit, and I was asleep when she was born. And so I didn't think that I would bond with her or anything. I just thought they're going to hand me this baby that I have to take home. And her head was the size of a tennis ball. She was super tiny. And when I reached in to touch her, she reached up and grabbed my hand. And her whole hand like went from here to here. And I heard God, and he said, well, first I stood there in awe because I didn't know that you could love somebody so much. I didn't know that anyone like that. And that's when I heard God, and he said, I love you more than this. That moment changed me forever. God showed me he cared about me, and I was so into being a mom, and she was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I was super excited to take care of her and figure everything out. And my heart did not recover, though, after she was born. And so that's when they started to consider me for a transplant, which I was turned down for twice from the committee because I did not meet the criteria. And one of those reasons was I hadn't been in remission long enough. And the other was actually that my doctor had bribed me with concert tickets. And they're nobody's going to bribe you to take your medicine and take care of you. And we can't waste this heart, you know. And the head doctor vetoed the panel, put me on the list. And the normal waiting time is like over 2 years. And I waited just about 2 months.
Wow.
Wow. I know the night before I got my heart, my daughter came home from the hospital. She came home weighing 4 pounds, 7 ounces, and nothing was wrong with her. They wanted me to have an abortion, and she lived, man. She survived. She is amazing. And
she towers us now.
Yeah, she's like,
wow.
I think I know where she got it from.
So, I didn't say though, when my friend asked me, what are you going to name your baby? I said Faith, and that's how she got her name. It's Faith.
Yes.
Faith. I love that.
Yeah.
So you had a heart transplant in 2 months. And then what happened after the transplant?
Well, when I went in for the transplant, I was terrified, scared to death. And when I woke up, I could breathe again. And I was strong and full of energy. I was like ready to go. And my body had to actually like catch up with my heart. And they kept me in the hospital like longer to make sure that I would be compliant, all that stuff. But I was downhill skiing within 2 months after my transplant.
Wow.
Wow.
I just had chest bone heal.
Faith, how old were you at that point? I'm trying to get a timeline here.
Sarah, not Faith.
Yes.
Sorry, my apologies.
That's okay. I was 18. My daughter was born a month before my 18th birthday. And then 5 months later, I had the transplant, and I went from being their worst candidate to their poster child. And so that was amazing. And at the time, they said, if you ever you made it through this pregnancy, you'll never we can't do this again. Like, you will not survive this again. So they actually tied my tubes, and so I wasn't able to conceive. And then I married about a year. Faith was about a year old when I got married, and had a good life, for a while. And 8 years into it, I finally got the okay to have a child, which also meant that I had to have my tubes untied. It was a huge process and years of believing. But Melody was born, and she is the first child born to a heart transplant recipient out of Spokane, Washington's transplant center.
Wow.
And I did some research that year. There were 7 heart transplant children, heart transplant recipients that had children. There's 7.
Wow.
That are registered.
Well,
anyways.
God promised you a son first.
Yes. And so all this time, though, I was praying. I was like, should I have a baby?
I love that Chris is like, hold on, let's get our stories right.
I try to get it all in.
There's so many things.
So much. There hasn't been any part of my life that's just been simple. Maybe the fact that I have 2 dogs. I mean, that's pretty simple. But everything has been an event and a journey. And so transplants at that time were not supposed to have children. I didn't know how long transplants would even live. And I thought they lived for 5 years. And my doctor, he goes, oh no, you're going to live long enough to see your grandchildren. And because I was scared, And so I started asking the Lord about if I was going to have any children, because I kept wanting to. And he showed me this scripture that said, at the appointed time, I will come and Sarah will have a son. And I stood on that word for 13, 14 years. So when I found out that, and so that's where the journey went through of getting my tubes untied and all of that, and medication changes, all this stuff. I found out I was having a girl. So I was like, what do you mean I'm having a girl? I based half my life on the scripture, and Melody is I call her my hot mess. She is like a rock star. She has rocked our world. There's nothing calm about this child.
No. She's a redhead.
She's a redhead, and she came out ruling the world. But I was like, how, really, because I was like, I'm going to have a son. I'm going to have a son. And so I found out that only half of the reversal worked, the tubal reversal. So I could only get pregnant every other month, all this stuff. So when Melody was 8 or 9 months old, and I found out that I was pregnant again when I wasn't supposed to get pregnant, I was a little shocked. My doctors were like, wait a minute, and I'm like, I didn't plan this, I promise. And I found out that I was having a boy. And so
that is awesome.
Amazing.
So, Melody's the gift and Ben's the promise.
Yes.
I love that. Melody's the gift and Ben's the promise. And then, so you had 2 babies after, not had, but you have 2 babies after post-transplant. Yes. Now, so you got married. Yes. And then what happens after the 2 babies? Because I can't wait to see when Chris comes in.
Yeah.
So after these, I got divorced. 6-month-old, 5 or 6-month-old, a 1-year-old, and a 16-year-old.
Wow.
So that ended, unfortunately, very abruptly, and I would say due to mental illness and domestic violence, all that kind of fun stuff took place. I'm very thankful for God's faithfulness just through all of that. And I was really at a time where I was I'd been involved in church and ministry things for so long that it was kind of just, something I did, not a life, and I remember just thinking, I really want to get back to that place. And right when my world fell apart, that's when Christopher came in the picture.
Okay. That's all I needed to know. We will need to take a quick break. See the cliffhanger?
Yes,
this
yes,
is a love
yes.
story. We will need to take a quick break. Sarah just shared her journey from having leukemia to surgery to having a baby at a very young age, again, transplant, and having 2 babies. Such an overcomer. When we return, we will dive into the love story behind Sarah and Chris. We will be right back to the Leader's Edge.
Do you want to grow a team of transformational leaders who can take your organization to the next level? Do you want to attract, retain, and develop top talent? Do you want to leverage generational insights and improve your employees' communication, interpersonal, and productivity skills? If your answer is yes to any or all of these, you are in the right place. Steele and Ernie Dacumos, hosts of The Leader's Edge, are seasoned coaches and facilitators with Maxwell Leadership Team. They will leverage leadership content, tools, and resources to help turn your leaders into transformational leaders with influence and impact, so everyone wins. This highly effective program not only provides the knowledge and skills necessary to lead, coach, and communicate more effectively, but Steve and Ernie have resources available to impact others throughout your organization so that everyone can be led well. So contact us at pathtoleadersedge@gmail.com and let Steve and Ernie help grow your organization by creating an influence in which others want to engage.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm your host, Steve Steele, with my co-host, Ernie Dacumos, and our special guest today, Sarah and Chris Hindman. Wow, what an amazing story, Sarah. And we're still not done. We're still not done.
Wait, we're not done yet.
Yeah. What such a beautiful, beautiful story, and how God's brought you through it. But then, after all of that comes in, then you meet this guy, Chris. Right?
This guy, Chris.
This guy next to you right there, Chris, right?
Yes.
And you were married in October, I think, as I remember. It was October.
Yes.
And Sarah...
14 years.
Yeah, 14 years. So I have a question for Chris. Can we bring Chris into the show here a little bit? Let's ask Chris.
Yeah.
He's been on the background the whole time trying to make the story right.
Right, exactly.
We promise he's going to speak. So he's speaking now.
Chris, I have recently read in a book that men need an adventure to live. They need a beauty to rescue. And they need a battle to fight. Mm-hmm. Chris, what was the reason you decided to fight for Sarah?
Well, when I met Sarah, I was like focused and I was serving God. I just got back from Haiti. I was doing these mission trips and I was never going to get married again because of how my first marriage went. And so that was in my mind. When I met Sarah and God spoke to me that the love that we have for each other only comes once in a lifetime and it's worth fighting for. And so that was one of the main reasons why I get up every morning and fight. That's why I still fight, is because of how much I love her.
Chris, what did he tell you? What did God actually tell you in those moments?
That what the promises that he has for me is right here in front of me.
Wow.
So with my beautiful children, to my beautiful wife, to my life that I never thought in a million years I would have.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Very sweet. Very, very sweet. Because Sarah is definitely a complete package, right? Along
A
with a
lot.
lot of baggage.
I'm gonna lie.
A complete package.
Complete package with a lot of baggage.
She warned me too. She
I
warned
warned
me.
him.
She's like, I'm a big package. You can back out. And I was thinking I'm all cool. No, I got this. And then after the transplant, which
Hold on.
we'll get to.
Oh, we have another transplant.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have another transplant. Remember, we have
Oh my God.
so you got married in October, and then during Mother's Day,
She
Sarah passed out.
passed out on me, and she wasn't.
Oh wow. Was this at home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she
We
wasn't
were
breathing?
We were having coffee, sitting there, and she like, I think I'm gonna pass out, and then there she
I even
went.
warned him, you know.
Wow.
So she passes out on me, and we're calling 911, and I didn't know what to do, and the only thing I needed to do is just to pray over her, and I started praying over her,
He did.
and then she started gurgling, and then
Oh,
It was very scary.
So you went to the ER apparently, and they checked you out.
Yeah.
Yes, and they put me back on the transplant like that day. Well, they started
Really?
and what they said was I had already had some stents put in prior, and they think what happened was that I had like an arrhythmia, a misfire, and my heart stopped beating. And they transplanted hearts don't restart because they cut the nerves.
Is that
From
right?
Yeah. And so they were like, it's one thing if you have plumbing issues, but another thing if you have electrical, or both of them, you know. They're like, it's time. You got to get you another heart. And it was kind of like and I was 20 some years out with this heart that they thought would last around 10 to 12 years. So I was beyond how long I was already supposed to have the heart that I had. And it was really scary. I mean, we were the ambulance and they did every test in the world and put me right back on the list. And, you know, the first time
they put her on the list, and next week she's mowing the yard.
Oh my God.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
no.
So we got out of the hospital. I'd been in there all week doing this workup, and I mowed the yard, and I passed out mowing the yard, and I woke up and my daughter was on with 911, and I'm like, hang up the phone, I'm fine, you know. And we were supposed to go spend the time and see her house that weekend, and we went over. I said, I'm not going in the hospital. I said, if I check in, I'm not coming out. They'll make me wait there till I get the heart. And we were still like, what do we do? You know, like, what is, you know, like, what does God say about this? You know, and he had spoken first time. He gave me the scripture in Ezekiel that says, I will give you a new heart. And so I'm like, you better say something again, Lord, because here we go. And I love that the Bible says he's our very present help in time of need. He's like right now, I'm with you, God, you know, and he's not holding back speaking to us. And we went over to Bremerton, saw our daughter's house, and which there's a transplant center there. So I knew I was safe to proximity, just so I was being safe in my own head. And our devotional that day was in 2 Thessalonians, and it says, hold on, friends, with a firm grip to Jesus and what he's already taught you. Let him put a fresh heart in you, invigorate your work and enliven your speech. And Chris goes, what does that mean? And I'm like, that means I'm getting another heart, like new. And it became a journey again that we had an opportunity to move to San Diego, and the Lord just opened that door And my transplant center up here was super excited because they specialized in what I needed in California. And my antibodies were super high now. And so I risked rejection more, and they specialized in all of that. And so we got to live we both moved there, and it was scary. I mean, it was a journey because we didn't know anyone, and everything that we moved there
Which was
for.
kind of good for us because we really cling to each other and the Lord. And
That was probably our best like growing moment together, of learning to trust each other and trust the Lord and see him take care of us outside of everything else.
From that experience, that's how I learned that God's the provider, that he always comes. Just from that experience.
I love that. And would it be safe to say, Chris and Sarah, like having the right people and then the faith would be your greatest tool?
For sure. And, all along the way, God put people in our lives that would either encourage us or help us, and he just, like, there was even a team there in California, a church team, and I had to go in for some issues and was hospitalized, and they just took care of our kids, like, while I was in there. And, that's a big deal when you don't know anybody. They're just like, we got them, and they did trunk or treat with them, and, just little angels, all along the way. There was always like nurses, God would always give us the right doctors.
That would speak life into us.
Yeah. And I remember we had this conversation. My grandpa had just turned 90, and I said, well, I want to live a long time, and I said, I feel like with everything I've been through, if I at least live till 80, that's good, And then we go in this new transplant center where we don't know anybody. And my doctor is like Doogie Howser, like 30 years old, and it was just, do we trust this guy? And he's like, oh, you got some issues and everything. He goes, but don't you worry, we'll get you into your 80s. And it was like, okay, Lord, like,
we're in the right place.
Always things like that. And there was one day where we were just really struggling, and I put a post up on Facebook about a rock. It was a painted rock, and it said, when my heart fails, lead me to the rock that's higher than I. And like 2 minutes later, there's a knock at my door, and it's my neighbor's son who's like 4 years old, and he hands me the painted rock, and he's like, my mom made this for you. And I mean, it was just like the timing of everything was just consistent, and we're so thankful, and we have incredible leaders. Our pastors, Mike and Jane Walker, they have been through their whole journey with us, my children. So we have 3 grandchildren now that are amazing. And I mean, God just keeps adding to us, and he's bringing us to this place of like, you can do more. And so they had me listed for a transplant, and they said, we're going to get as much time out of his heart as possible. So we moved back to Idaho because of the grandkids. And it was like, we're going to be with them. And they said, we're going to send you to LA when it's time. We got another 5 years with that heart. And then and it was intense, because never in my mind would I have thought, hey, let's check out LA for a transplant center. Like I didn't even think I could move from where we were at. And so I had to move later back to California and live with Chris's sister down there. They housed us and let me stay when it got closer to me waiting. They evaluated me there, and they're like, oh, you've been there, done that, so there wasn't a lot of information, except they're like, you have to have a caretaker who's going to take care of you. And I was like, well, my husband. And they're like, so he can miss 3 months of work? And I'm like, yeah. And they're on their phone with me, and they're like, you can afford that? I'm like, mm-hmm. You know? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're like, what's your address? Where are you going to live? And I'm like, just a minute. And I pull out my sister-in-law's, she lived in California, and I just gave him her address. She lived 8 miles in the limit
Perimeter where you
of
needed
where
to be.
you have to be.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You know, all of this stuff. And it was just like, so you can afford to, you know, have 2 homes. And we're like, oh yeah, you know.
We
And
had no idea what we were doing.
I mean, and we had no idea. And I said, well, I don't understand this, because when I had my first transplant, I didn't have that. And that's one of the reasons I turned down. And so I had done it myself. And so, well, my sister helped me. But as far as like having an actual caretaker, and Chris was able to be that. And God put him in a position at work where he was able to take the time off of work. He was able to, you know, he was just able to be there and keep his paycheck basically. And then people gave, they really gave and helped us. And
yeah, which they came through. And then my work, which was cool, ended up paying for the transplant.
yeah. So the insurance.
Wow.
The insurance.
Yes.
Yeah. They said, because you are going to a place of excellence like Cedars-Sinai, we're going to cover it at 100%, which is like 1.2 million for the transplant. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. We had to pay, they're like, you do have to pay your out of pocket, you know, so it was like $6,000, which is nothing compared to 1.2 million.
2 million.
Oh,
Oh,
my.
yeah, totally. Okay, I think I want to do something drastic here.
Uh-oh.
I want a part 2 of this story.
Okay.
We will have Chris and Sarah the following Thursday. But partner, any last words before we conclude our show today?
Yeah, let me just say a little bit here. You know, it's amazing how how God, there's no such thing as coincidence. It's all synchronicities. God moves in powerful ways in our lives. And it was incredible. He moves it in powerful ways individually with each of us. We don't all have the same story. It's all different in different ways. And the thing is, when you look for it, you know it's the power of God in your life. And you know that love and is empowering you as a person. It's just amazing story, Sarah. I just can't. We're going to get into more of it next week. Obviously, with Ernie's here, we're going to go ahead and do it another segment.
Because we just made that up right now.
Yeah. So we will have Chris and Sarah back with another inspiring topic of wells of love, pouring faith into each other and the world. So don't miss this episode of The Leader's Edge. And as always, Chris, Sarah, thank you for today. I am so freaking excited about you guys coming back next week. And Chris, I promise we're going to give you a little bit more time, okay? We're going to give you a little bit more time next week.
We'll give you the highlights.
Amazing story. An amazing story.
Yes, amazing story. And just a reminder, you can find The Leader's Edge on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. If you find value in these conversations, please subscribe or follow to stay connected. We wanted to say thank you to all of our listeners and friends, because without you, The Leader's Edge would not be possible. We are grateful to have you here and so excited to connect with you next time. But for now, bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.